Did you put those other people up?
Hi, thank you guys for being here today at the System Performance Committee meeting. Today is September 18th, 2024, and the time is 2:03 p.m. I believe I was going to start us out today with lyrics to a song, and the song is called "The System Works Exactly as Intended," and it's about the experience of sleep. So the lyrics are, do you know where they go when you sweep? And then it says, I said, hey man, do you know where they go when you sweep? He said, quite frankly, it don't matter to me. And I'd go lay your head on that cold concrete, let the warmth leave your body. Yeah, yeah. Then it goes on to say, I walked about 16 city blocks. Oh, the artist is actually me. I wrote this song. So Self-Doubt is the name of the artist. And the lyrics go, I walk about 16 city blocks from here to Olympia, trying to find my love, but she's not where I thought. I went back to where we built our home out of tent poles and stones, but it wasn't much, but it was ours, you know, our humble abode. Yeah, yeah. I said, hey man, do you know where they go when you sweep? He said, quite frankly, it don't matter to me. And just go lay your head on that cold concrete and let the warmth leave your body. Yeah, yeah. I went back to where we built our home out of tent poles, or I'm sorry, I went back to where we shared our apartment way before we lost it. That was about 3 years ago. And it's hard to know when it, I'm sorry, I forgot it now. No, that was about 3 years ago. And it's hard to know when you don't got to know what day it is. And I said, have you ever tried to navigate the system, man? They put you in it and they leave you there. I'm not prioritized, nor do I qualify. I guess my problems just ain't worth seeing. Hey man, do you know where they go when you sweep? He said, quite frankly, it don't matter to me. And just go lay your head on that cold concrete. I don't understand how you could be so mean. Yeah, yeah. And then it says, do you know where she is? The girl I was always with the hair down to her hips, tattoo of a butterfly beneath her eye. Do you know where she is? Do you know where they go when you sweep? When they tell us to pack our up and leave, move a couple 100 feet down the street. Do you know where they go when you sweep? And then it just repeats those two last frames. Thank you. And I believe I would turn it over to Tamara for the land acknowledgement.
Oh, wow. I wasn't, that was awesome, by the way, number one. I had not been prepared to deliver a land acknowledgement, but I am happy to do so on the fly.
Oh, sorry. Sorry, Tamara.
No, that's okay. I just like to be prepared for that just because it's an honor to be able to do so. And I want to give it the full attention and care that it deserves. But I do want to recognize that we are on the unceded traditional land of the Duwamish and other Coast Salish peoples who have been generous in spirit and resources to us who are not originally from this land, unless you're Native American, and to provide, like, I bow down in honor and respect to the earth and the waters and the generosity of spirit that our Native brothers and sisters have offered us and continue to offer us despite the ongoing colonization and white supremacy that continues to plague our society. And that is my humble, very, very informal land acknowledgement.
That was beautiful. Thanks, Tamara. And I keep forgetting to go to Alex for roll call at the beginning of our meeting, and I apologize for that.
No, you're good. It gives people time to trickle into the meeting. Okay, if you're here, please say here. Tamara Bauman.
Here.
Sherry Tillman.
Here.
Christina Height. Also watching the attendees. Okay. Ruby Romero.
Here.
Emil Floresca.
Here.
Emil, I'm promoting you to panelist.
All right, thank you.
Thank you. Marvin Futrell,
Here.
Christina Sawicki,
Here, and I will not be able to turn myself on and off, so you'll have to do it for me.
yep, I'll just leave you unmuted. Thank you. Frank Scott,
Here.
thank you. Ben Vaughan,
Here.
Emily Remo. Okay.
Once again, sorry from last time, Emily had taken my spot while I was on maternity leave, and I'm back.
Oh, sorry, I need to change the
That's
template.
No problem.
Okay, Victoria Ewig, thank you. Okay, you have 9 members present, 1 member absent. Quorum is met.
Great. Thank you for that, Alex. I believe, yeah, it's right on time, 2:09, so we're a minute early, but I believe this is where we would open the public comment section of our meeting. So if there's anybody that would like to make a public comment, go ahead and raise your hand in Zoom and we will call on the order that it was received. And then Alex, if you want to monitor that, thanks.
Yep. There are no hands raised.
No, there's no hands raised. Okay. Well, I think we can give it just a minute. We have attendees, yeah. Okay. Sounds good. Well, as always at the COC board, if you do have any questions, you can just submit questions to coc.questions, right, at kcrha.org.
Yes.
Cool. Then I guess the public comment portion is now closed. This would move into the HMIS annual survey. Or is it, no, I'm sorry, the board updates, I apologize. Daniel, I know that you're out of the city, but did you want to give any updates on committees, like the coordinated entry committee or anything like that?
Yeah, thanks for that. Actually, we have Tom Reagan that's going to be joining us later on the agenda, who will give a coordinated entry committee update, which is really good. This will be the first time I think we've had some representation in a few meetings, so I'll save that for Tom. I think of interest for the group is, he'll probably touch upon how the inventory rollout has been going for coordinated entry, and probably talk just a little bit about their evaluation that they're going through, some key data points that they're looking at. I'll let Tom do that once he joins. But for the other committee updates, usually I kind of hand it over to either Tamara or you, Ruby, for COC updates or
Sure.
anything that happened in the governance committee that is important. I know there was a vote that you probably want to talk about, Ruby, with the COC co-chair position.
Yeah, oh, definitely. Yeah, I guess I can go right into that and then I'll hand it over to Tamara if she has anything to add. So last week or 2 weeks ago, wow, time flies. 2 weeks ago, we did the co-chair vote for the Continuum of Care Board, and Dorsal Plants and myself were elected as the co-chair. So that does bring to the table, I think I discussed a little bit about this last week or last meeting that we had, but as the co-chair on this committee and then being the co-chair on the COC board too, I feel I would just be letting you guys know that I won't be re-nominating myself for the co-chair position on this committee. And I believe Tamara has said the same thing. So we just wanted to give everyone a heads up there for this committee at least. But yeah, the COC board, we've been just focusing on the NOFO pretty much nonstop and trying to get through making sure that the applications are coming in. There's a rating and ranking going on for COC programs, which is the continuum of care funding from HUD. And then let's see, what else are we doing? There's the cross-cutting policy work group as well that's been meeting, just focusing on the community standards for our continuum of care. And then we also have the charter revision work group, which has come to a close, and we've made the edits that we are going to submit to the continuum of care as a whole as our membership meeting in November. And then let's see. I think I can hand it over to Tamara if she has anything to add.
Nothing too much in addition, other than just reiterating that I'm also stepping down as co-chair, and I'm hoping to have another replacement, or have a replacement in place by the next meeting, so that I can turn my attention to what is essentially going to be a pilot project that will be coming directly from this committee, in developing new well-being specific metrics for our homeless response system. And I'm in talks with other like nonprofit organizations who might be interested in participating, either as well. It's a work in progress, but there's something in the works. That's why I'm stepping down, and I also want to share power and responsibility for our homeless response system and the metrics and the measurements that we use to determine what success looks like. That should all be driven by people with lived experience. And then the last thing I would say is to preserve our legacy as co-chairs, and our culture share, to borrow from the Lived Experience Coalition, is to try to keep the opening song, the opening grounding, with like a song or a piece of poetry, something that like roots the work that's going to be done in something that's culturally significant and that actually feeds into the movement for social justice. It's supposed to be like a reminder of why we're here, why we're doing this work, and we won't stop until there is no more homelessness. That is my vision, and that's what I think our homeless response vision is. But I want to like actually start making it happen. So if that is possible to the next co-chairs, or that, or come up with something else that's awesome, like show us your art, but do something that's super dope. That's it.
Yes, I reiterate that super dope part. That would be great. Yeah, no, I love that. And so thank you so much for giving that input, Tamara. I think that the song has been a really cool thing that you really did introduce to this committee. And so we'll make sure that if you continue the song, that you get our vote. No, I'm just kidding. Anyway, so let's see here. Now I believe maybe we would be turning it over to the informational question and answer portion about the HMIS annual survey, just kind of getting a status update. And I believe that Daniel, are you leading that portion?
Yeah, that's right. That's next on the agenda. I did want to give an update to the group though, related to kind of similar updates that you've just given to the rest of the members here. Recently, there was the NOFO renewal applications that were due at the end of August. So these are COC projects that reapply for funding to continue doing the work that they did the previous year. And we've talked about this, I think, on a number of occasions. That is a rating and ranking process where the HMIS team has provided the scores for those projects previously, and they're in the process of getting evaluated right now. As part of that, and talked about it in the last meeting, there were bonus funds. These are extra funding set aside for specific focus areas for HUD. And so so in August, the HMIS lead, which is the team here at KCRHA, we applied for bonus funding. This is not funding that would have gone through the renewal process. This is extra set aside funding that HUD puts for those focus areas. And one of the focus areas, there were a few of them. One of them was for increased HMIS capacity. So turned in that application on behalf of the HMIS lead, asking if we could get the full 1.4 million to cover the cost of our total HMIS instance. So this is the software that we use to collect data that we all talk about and use for reporting. So HUD doesn't currently fund that. They only give us about 400,000, give or take, for the cost of our software. So just asking HUD this year with that bonus funding, if they would be willing to fund us for the full amount of our HMIS instance. Now, that still goes through the rating and ranking process because there are others who applied for the bonus funds. DV providers focused on DV. That was another focus area for HUD. So there's other entities and providers. I don't have the full list actually of who all applied, but I think we'll find out eventually. And then I'll give an update to the group if we do get accepted or our application is ranked highly enough that we will ask for that funding for HUD. So a little bit circular because KCRHA is does operate the NOFO and do that process. Had to be just apply kind of as an agency as if we were not part of KCRHA. So if you have any questions about that, or if I didn't explain that well, please let me know. But this is a good thing. This is trying to see if we can get more funding for the HMIS. Now, right now, it's currently being covered by a multitude of grants. And if you have questions about that, I'm happy to share that information and get that to you. But it's really other federal grants that are covering the cost of this and some operating budget costs. So if we can do that, I think that'll be good because it'll offset the cost for those other grants and that money for the program team and those working on allocations. They can use, that unencumbers that fund so that it can be used for other things. That's out of my scope. All I did was compile the application and apply for more funding. So hopefully we get it. That would be really good news to be able to provide back to this group. And then on to the annual survey. So every year around this time, we do an annual customer service survey for our end users. This is, actually, let me pause. Was there any questions about that? About the bonus application or the bonus funding? And please, the braided funding, grant funding, this can be, for folks who aren't, used to that world, this can be complicated. And I have no problems, discussing like kind of how that works or functions. If it's too detailed, probably do that offline, but happy to answer any questions. I just want to leave room for that real quick. Marvin, yeah.
I'll just speak. I didn't know if I was supposed to raise my hand or not.
Go ahead.
Do we have some understanding of how the decision making based on the folks that applied for the bonus funding are really, and I'm thinking we'll be applying from a need-based standpoint. Would that have priority over an administrative use of the funding? All things being equal.
Yeah, that's a really good question. I am not entirely sure how the rating process is functioning for the bonus funds. I know Ruby and Tamara, you've been part of that work group. Do you know details on the bonus funding specifically, not the renewals, but the extra set aside that HUD put out? And Marvin, I can get that information too for you.
Thank you. Great.
Yeah, I'll take some.
Yeah, I think that it would be best to just get the information because I'm not well versed on that particular portion. So
Great. So the contact there, Marvin, is Kelsey Beckmeyer at KCRHA. So I'll be contacting her and asking, do we have a clear process? And then I can send that out after the meeting so we can know how those bonus funds are being, those applications are being rated and ranked. Good question.
Thank you.
Any other questions about that? Okay, so on to the annual survey. So last year in October, the survey was sent out. So had two work sessions on the survey so far. There is no final survey. What I've done is worked with BitFocus to look at last year's survey and get that in a format that can be reviewed and edited. And I want to thank Frank, who gave early input on this when first coming on board as a member. We held a small but mighty team of three, myself, the BitFocus admin, our admin provider, Melissa, and then Frank joined. And we just went through and looked at some of the areas of that survey. And there are certainly some recommendations that I thank you, Frank. I don't know if you want to speak to this a little bit, but there were definitely some recommendations about what we're measuring and some tweaks that we can look at to continue to measure whether we're being effective in the training, being effective in understanding the knowledge that our end users have. So there are a couple of different domains to the survey. And once I have that in a format that's shareable, which I can do now on my OneDrive, I'm going to be sending that out to the committee so we can look at that. And yeah, I just want to thank Frank for being involved in that. This will be my first year actually looking at that survey and having an opportunity to make some tweaks and changes. Frank, I know you're here. Do you want to speak to any part of that annual survey? I know you're also, brand new to this work as well.
Yeah, so I don't know that I have anything profound to say about your version of the survey other than it's always nice to ask the same question year over year over year. So you get some kind of baseline and then some kind of progress statement. But then there's new questions that come up and you don't want to not ask those that as things evolve. And then I thought we also had some conversation around who's getting pulled and what's the right way to pull them. Yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing the next draft of the survey.
So what I'd like to do now, thank you, Frank. What I'd like to do now is show you the survey so you can see what it looked like last year. So you can just get a little bit of a priming as this goes out for more input from the group. Alex, I am not seeing share screen on my end.
Oh, are you not able to share?
Oh, here we go.
You got it.
I'm just gonna have to do it this way. Are you all seeing my survey come up? Or the survey come up?
Your email.
Just my email? Okay. Let's see. Try that again. Try this. How about now?
Yep.
Okay, great. So let me just run through the questions so you can see where we're starting from, and you'll see some notes in here where we're making some updates. And then then I'll democratize this essentially and send this out to the group. The first question here, so this is a HMIS training and satisfaction survey. And really trying to get a sense of who is taking the survey, and that'll inform kind of how we take action steps after this, in terms of who do we want to focus on training or increasing satisfaction for this. Question number 2 looks similar, but please select your role and best describes how you interact with the HMIS. So you can see there, data entry specialist, lead, security officer, case manager, program manager, assessors, and then inventory management. So this is our new inventory process that's been rolled out. Excuse me, updated inventory management project. We've always been collecting inventory, just not as robustly as we are now. And then how often do you use the system? How long have you been using Clarity Human Services? So looking at experience, that's a really good one for understanding, as more folks are in the system and we cross-cut the survey results, we'll know, is this more applicable to those who are newer to the system? Or is this a deficit that we're seeing, like a knowledge deficit or satisfaction deficit that we're seeing for people who've been here longer? So this really helps us to hone in on who exactly is having what kind of experience. And please select the responses that best describe your experience and satisfaction with the HMIS. And here we get some pretty good detailed responses in the pick list. Do you generate HMIS reports with Clarity Human Services? So just trying to figure out who's what group is using not just data in the collection portion. I think, Frank, you talked about this when we met. We're pretty heavy in our training on data collection. How are we focusing on getting that data out back to providers? So this is good insight. Select the response that best describes your experience with Clarity Human Services HMIS reports. So do they find it accessible, and how accessible? On average, how long does it take to create the profile and enroll a client into a program? So just really trying to understand how efficient people are using the system. On average, how long does it take to run and produce reports within Clarity? Again, gauging the experience for the end user. The following question here refers to features. Have you used any of the following features? So we can get a sense of what's being used the most in the HMIS. And then continuing on, question 11, overall, how would you rate your experience? 12 additional comments. Question 13, let's talk about training. So we're going into the next section. Have you attended any of the following types of sessions? So gauging, again, accessibility and end user engagement with trainings. 15, what topics specific to King County HMIS trainings did you attend? And you can see there we have a range of annual trainings that BitFocus does for us at KCRHA and for our providers. In 2023, so some of this needs to be updated, and we've done some of that already, but in 2023, we offered the following trainings and resources. How useful were they? So, are these trainings that we want to keep on going? Were they not as useful as we thought they might be? So trying to close the loop on that, on what end users are really needing and wanting. Have you watched any of the optional recorded trainings linked via the King County HMIS website? This is just, I think we need to update some language, certainly, with some of these questions. So I think format aside, we'll update things that say King County, likely to KCRHA. But on this specific question about the materials, really, are they using the online materials, and how are they using that? Do you feel you had a lack of HMIS training and support needs this year? This really is kind of sticking a fork right into it with training. Number 19, would you find it useful for a trainer to provide specific technical support? 20, how interested are you in following HMIS training topics? That should be 2024. So some updating still here that needs to be done. Please list any other HMIS training topics that you would like to see offered in the future. What aspect of training focused on HMIS Clarity reports would be most useful for you? Other, please specify. Does your agency or program participate in coordinated entry? Do you complete the housing triage tool assessment and coordinated entry? And then we get into assessor questions here. How useful is the assessor credential training? Do you have suggestions for improving that? So this will get back to our CE team as well as our BitFocus team and the HMIS team. 28, are you a housing provider that accept referrals from coordinated entry? Do you have suggestions on what type of training or resources that would be best to support your learning? What is your preference for training days and times? Is there anything else that you'd like to share with us about the HMIS training needs? Would you be interested in being a guest presenter? So this is really trying to solicit some folks who want to get more engaged. And then please share your contact info if you'd like to have a follow-up. It's a long survey. I think that was my first impression. It's a lot of questions to send out annually, and all useful in their own way. And here you can see we have some updates that we're suggesting here after our last meeting. Any questions about any of this? Does anyone want me to go back to any section, or just curiosity about the survey questions themselves? Okay, thanks for sticking through that with me. I know that was a lot of questions. Okay, so I'll just go to let's see, hang on, let me check the chat. Okay, Q&A, looks like there's one.
There is a question in Q&A.
That's a really good question. Oh, this was earlier, and I'm sorry I missed that, Mike. So this is not related to the training. This was related to the bonus funds. Does that mean the KCRHA is in active competition with other agencies for these bonus funds? No, those bonus funds and that focus area was for the HMIS lead only, and there's only one HMIS lead in Seattle King County, which is here at KCRHA. So there is no other HMIS lead. It isn't in competition like it is with the other renewals. I think the competition here is there's a set aside amount for those focus areas, and I'll find out more from Kelsey Beckmeyer on exactly how that rating is going to go. But whatever HUD does, when they do land on a final figure on what those bonus funds are, if the HMIS application is selected and rated highly, what is that proportion going to be of those funds? So there is no other HMIS lead competitively going for those funds. Really good question. And then with that, the next section on the agenda is anything helps. And what I want to kind of just preface this with is that anything helps has been working towards improving their policies and procedures so they can get into the HMIS. They have turned that into me with some suggestions that I've given to the agency. Right now, that is in review with our chief, Owen, and it's in review with our coordinated entry manager, Tom. So that is the process right now. It's under that review. And then once that's completed, there is an opportunity where they could approve those policies and procedures, and anything helps would be brought into the HMIS and would go about the standard process of making sure that they get the training and the credentials, and then they would be using the HMIS. If for whatever reason our chief or our coordinated entry manager has any questions, they will reach out, maybe get some clarity on that. And if for whatever reason either one of those two were to not would not grant access based on the material that was provided, then it would come to this committee for a vote. And today we have joining us Mike from Anything Helps. And part of that process that's outlined for this is that Mike has an opportunity on behalf of his organization to talk about the where they're currently at and their current status on that, and open to talk freely about the process and the opportunities that have kind of come up out of looking and reviewing the policy and procedure. With that, I'll kind of back out. I don't want to take the wind out of your sails, Mike. So if you could, Alex, please promote Mike, and Gail, if Gail is on as well. And I'll hand it over to Mike.
Thank you. Can you guys hear me okay? Great. Yeah, I appreciate the time, and Daniel, I really appreciate all the help that you've provided us in, revamping our policies. I think one of the things that I think something just happened. Can you hear me okay still? Okay. I think I was promoted. So, yeah, so one of the things that I really wanted to talk about today was the fact that, there's been a lot of conversations back and forth with the KCRHA staff and anything else related to this process. And although largely you hear a lot of frustration from our agency that I think is valid, I also think that there was a lot of work to do that we hadn't known about or even considered until we started the process with Daniel. And we want to acknowledge that there was a limited understanding of what HIPAA compliance meant, how in depth that process is in terms of standing up a HIPAA compliant organization, and that has been knowledge that we've accumulated over time to ensure that we're in compliance with some of our other contracts and some of our other practices that we aim to implement. So we've been working weekly with a compliance expert, and since I don't even know when, probably a year from, over a year. And we've been adjusting our systems to make sure that they're compliant with HIPAA. And I know HIPAA is separate from KCRHA and HMIS, but I think it's important to distinguish the fact that we're contracted with the state to provide services in King County, and they have separate requirements for us that we need to meet. And we weren't even meeting those. So, we want to acknowledge that there were definitely shortcomings that our organization was thankful to have pointed out to us. And I think we're in a good place now. And I'm hoping that the chief officer feels the same way as he's reviewing these documents. So, yeah, I appreciate the time. I know Gail wanted to speak as well. So she's our lead administrator.
Yeah, I mean, Mike's correct, absolutely correct that, we've learned a lot going through this process. The fact remains that this process has taken over a year. That has nothing to do with us because we have requested over and over again to have this process happen in some form or another. All we want is HMIS access so we can better serve our clients. On August 28th, I believe, we met with Daniel and Hedda and another member of the KCRHA, I believe Irene, and Ruby, I think, was also at that meeting. And we were told that at this meeting, if we did a lot of work, which we did, I met with Daniel several times to work on our data security policies, and I took all his suggestions very seriously, and we incorporated anything that they thought needed to be changed. And we were told that we would receive an answer finally at this meeting to our desire to get HMIS access. And now we're being told that for some reason they couldn't get around to it. It's been over a year that we've been waiting. Our clients have been waiting and suffering. And some of you have actually heard one of our clients talk about the fallout from that suffering in their own life here at a COC meeting a few weeks ago. So it's very unfortunate. I'm very disappointed. It's very unfortunate. And we're just going to move forward in our work and continue without HMIS access. And it's a real shame. Thank you.
Thanks, Gail. And thank you, Mike, for giving us an update on this process. I'm gonna just take some time to speak to this as well, if the committee is okay with that. I've been kind of hovering over this situation as well, trying to follow it, and been a part of previous aspects. And I just want to say that I'm also disappointed that there isn't a decision. And I think, Daniel probably knew that was coming. But I understand that, the policy that we're following does require that the community impact officer and the coordinated entry director need to approve of the application. But I also understand, that they're on a limited schedule too. We're all on limited schedules. But we shouldn't be where we're at right now. I wholeheartedly believe that we've handled this process last year with the appeal. And I'm just going to be real when I say that this has been, pretty well documented that there hasn't been a lot of movement on this for a long time. So Daniel, I do really appreciate, and I just want to reiterate, I really appreciate you taking the time and working through this with them. I was present with some of those meetings, and it really was a working session, so I really want to highlight that my disappointment is not there. But it's just we've heard Mike's testimony, we've heard Gail's testimony, how grateful they are to have done this work, and I feel like we're just kind of dropping the ball on this by not having an answer, to be frank and honest, because like I said, we've already dealt with this. There was, I'm going to go over a little bit of a timeline, just in the fact that, this has been 15, 16 months at this point, where the original denial that happened was appealed, went through the appeals process, which is handled by the System Performance Committee. And we took two meetings to deliberate this. We heard testimony from the community. We looked at records. We looked at, spending line items when it comes down to all of these things that we were, anyway. So we did our due diligence. I did my due diligence, and I believe other committees members at the time did their due diligence. And we had voted to appeal the decision, to overturn the denial and allow for an approval of access to HMIS, which would then allow for them to go through the trainings. And after they sign the MOUs, like that's when you get the trainings and you get to learn about exactly what. So they were kind of being held accountable for something that they weren't trained on, is what I'm trying to say. And then after that, we're supposed to have given access to HMIS within 30 days. And I feel like what the frustration is there, that maybe Gail was speaking to, was just that the process was prolonged. And so we're still here at the same exact moment in time. And so I just wanted to emphasize that it's very important that this gets resolved. It doesn't only look uncomfortable, but it also looks like we're not trying to be good actors in getting people that are doing good work, have been recognized by other parts of the community in high regard about resolving encampments and correctly, and getting people into housing, maintaining connections. And I don't know if they want me to speak to the state program that they're a part of, but they're providing tenancy support, like the stuff that we're asking for in the system. So I say this all to say that I really can't stress that we haven't been following policy on this any more than I already have. And that the board members from the COC board that have been continuously ignored on their request to be CC'd on these emails really disappoints me as well. We can't hold people accountable for things that they haven't been trained on. If we're trying to get people off the streets, we need to understand that we have to provide technical assistance. We have to provide, equity to people with lived experience that are leading these organizations, that are making decisions that they're not well versed on, because we're supposed to receive the technical assistance. And I just want to emphasize that. And I'm sorry that I'm disappointed and maybe speaking a little candidly today, but we absolutely need to resolve this ASAP. Like, it has to be done by the next System Performance Committee meeting. And I mean, there's 4 days, if there's anything I can do to help support that, getting to a resolution, I'm happy to do it. And please continue to keep me posted on this. And sorry if I've been rambling, but it's very frustrating that we didn't get an answer today, to be honest. Does anybody have any questions?
And this is
maybe?
Christina. I'm going to speak up here. I'm also very concerned that we haven't been, that the System Performance Committee hasn't been as involved. When this first came out, I had never heard of Anything Helps. And the members of the System Performance Committee went and we looked at every last concern that KCRHA had, and we researched it ourselves. We talked to the individuals they tried reference it, KCRHA referenced, and we found out the truth and what was not the truth. And then when we figured out all that information, we voted on it based on researching it and actually speaking to the sources, not going off of gossip, not going off of newspapers, talking to the individuals. As I said, I'd never heard of Anything Helps before this at all. And so I had no clue. And I volunteered to research this and did, and brought my information back, what I had researched, who I'd talked to, etc., to the System Performance Committee when we made that vote to give Anything Helps the opportunity to participate in HMIS. And then all of a sudden, after that point, we were left out and not included in those emails. And I have felt very discouraged, not from Daniel, because Daniel's new and he has done a fantastic job, but we were not involved after that point with being kept in the communication, in the loop about what was going on. And so I have been very disappointed. I felt that we were not thought about, we were not considered, that our voices weren't heard. We were not heard, and therefore I also felt that we were not valued anymore with our decisions. And so we did at that point, we researched it deeply to find out what was the truth, what were the issues to every last concern that KCRHA brought forward, every last one. And I also echo what Ruby said. I'm very disappointed that things were said, you know, agencies were held accountable for something they weren't trained on. That to me is very concerning, because that's like not knowing something, but yet being held responsible for not knowing something. And so, yeah, I echo that this needs to be handled. This has been going on over a year now. This is past ridiculous. The state knows about this going on. This does not look good for us as an organization, and they know what's going on. So I want this to get handled as quick as possible, because it's past the ridiculous phase. Thank you.
Thanks, Christina. And I do want to, I'm sorry, I see some Q&A and I'm going to get to that, but I just wanted to also bring in the HMIS element of, you know, speaking with I've spoken with HMIS team a little bit, asked about, you know, what the other denial processes might be like in other parts of our nation. And it seems to me that, you know, what they do is they want people to be able to access the system and get people into housing. They prioritize people that are receiving funding from HUD, because that would be mandated to have access to HMIS. But for the most part, we don't really have a process about denials and appeals. Like, really, I haven't gotten a confirmation on that, but it seems to me that there's not much of a appeals process that like really gets spoken to, because it never reaches that point. So I just wanted to, you know, emphasize that we should be trying to bring people in. And I know this has probably gone over time, but let's see what's in the Q&A. There is a question about supplying a URL for Anything Helps, and I believe that we could get any information that's been given to the SPC to you know, anybody that would like it. Okay. Is there anything else? Oh yeah, well, that's actually a great point, Dale. Thanks for bringing that up. The trainings that were referred to as needing to be taken have been taken, because they were actually accessible to anyone in the public. You know, you didn't have to get like an MOU to actually access these trainings. So I believe that's what they're speaking to. And I want to emphasize too, we didn't give much of a timeline date. That the vote originally happened to the appeals process began in September of last year in 2023. And I believe we did a final vote on that in November or October. of 2023. So this is now September of 2024. Anybody have any questions? Okay. Well, I think that I've said my portion, and I thank you, Christina, for giving your insight as well. I would just say that, I mean, on the public meeting here, I'm asking that we please have this resolved by the next system performance committee meeting. I don't want to have to give another update that doesn't have a resolution. Thanks, Daniel.
Yeah, thank you. And I just want to reiterate the steps. So right now, Owen is reviewing that. Our chief is reviewing that, and so is the coordinated entry manager. So at that point, they may decide, looking at that it is updated, looks great, and approve that, and then that would go on to the next step of getting anything helps into the system. If they deny that, they don't find it sufficient, then it would come back to the committee for review. And then the committee would vote at that point. It would be in the committee's hands to approve or deny for the next system performance committee.
And how do we know, let's say theoretically, that process comes to fruition again? And let's say we all do our due diligence again and we have a vote, maybe in favor, maybe not in favor, but how would I know that would get acknowledged as what's going to happen? How can I be guaranteed that?
Which part of it? That if the
Oh, I'm
vote
sorry.
that
Yeah.
if you approve, they would get then anything helps as the policy states, whether it's anything helps or another organization, they would get approved to be in the system. In this case, I think, you know, I don't want to speak for anything helps, and they can go into the specifics of the three core issues that they've addressed in the policies and procedures if they'd like to. But I think if those are rectified and this is approved, I mean, in the system performance committee, if it comes back for approval, then they would be approved to be an HMIS agency.
Mm-hmm. And again, I mean, I don't want to push on this too far, but I just mean, like, we did that last year, right? So I'm a little nervous to, you know, if it comes back to us at an appeal, I just want to be guaranteed that if it comes back to us as an appeal and we do, that our decision, whether it be one way or another, would be respected and honored.
Yeah, thank you for that, Ruby. Yeah.
Hey, Daniel,
That-
sorry to cut you off. There are a couple hands up.
Okay.
Mike and Ben, and then there are, Bella, I can find the URL for anything helps, and then Janelle left a comment if you want to read that. Or in the Q&A, sorry.
Is there a way that we as a committee can formally, like ask or Owen and who is it, Tom now? Or Owen and Tom to prioritize this for the next meeting?
Yeah, Ben, really great question. This is a priority already. It's been set as a priority.
Well, okay, but what I'm saying is, so like what I'm hearing is it's been set as a priority, but then nothing's happened. So what I'm asking if we as a committee can like adopt a resolution that, or you know, like write a letter on like with all of our signatures that says we want this done by the next time.
Oh,
Yeah.
I think most certainly the committee, if you feel strongly about that, certainly could. I think Ben, just for context, there, you know, kind of leading up to this in the last couple of weeks, we have really been aggressive in getting this prioritized. So I want to actually just say thank you to Mike and thank you to Gail for working with me over the last 2 weeks. We've really gone through some long sessions to go through the policies and procedures. So we are, for some context, our chief right now is only in half a day a week. So that's a limitation, just a capacity issue on that. And then Tom, our coordinated entry manager, just started in the position. So just spinning him up on kind of what the policy is and his new role for this process. So just a couple of those are just a couple of pieces of context I wanna point out. And
For
then
sure.
in terms
I
of the
just-
committee writing a letter, certainly that's certainly an option.
Or, yeah, yeah. I mean, as I think that the committee should be able to, like, our voice should be heard if we say that we need this to be prioritized because like it's been ongoing. And I, like I know Tom, I was there, I think I get it. But like this is endemic of everything that everybody who works in social human services is dealing with right now. We all have a cadre of things that we need to handle like right now. Like at some point we have to, like, you can't just keep pushing something down the to-do list. That's all I mean. I am sympathetic though.
Thank you, Ben. I know Mike, hand up, Alex.
Yep.
Yeah,
Mike,
I just wanted to thank the committee for, taking this seriously. I think one of the biggest challenges for us is, dealing with, our clients asking about this, time after time after time, and essentially having to tell them that we have no resolution yet. One of our values as an organization is trust through transparency. And so we've been completely transparent about the challenges that we're dealing with this process with our clients, because these clients, some of which have been with us since we were approved during the appeal. This is really their only pathway into housing, is getting nominated. And not only have we requested on several occasions to be referred to another agency to do those nominations for us, but we've also been requesting that training for over a year, and we're never told that that was a publicly accessible training for us to access. It's been really frustrating in terms of the lack of communication. That has changed since Daniel got involved, and so I want to point that out. But it took an email with documentation and a timeline being sent to HEDA and the media, and we've spent money on legal representation trying to get the KCRHA to speak to us. It just would be great to just put this behind us so we can turn a page and work more collaboratively. We're not looking for funding. We're not looking for any transaction of that type. We're attempting to get our clients into housing, and we brought them on with the understanding that access was going to be granted to us. If that hadn't been granted to us, there was no way we would have even approached these clients, because we know that that's what they need. And so it's really difficult to turn back to our clients for any amount of time and have to tell them the same thing. It erodes trust with them. It decreases our engagement with them. And, it's just really important that we get this resolved in any way that we can. So thank you for prioritizing this.
Yeah. And I was curious, Ben, did I hear, was that a motion to maybe to have a letter that we write and submitted to Owen or the chief on this project there? If it is, I would second it, so just throwing that out there.
Well, since it's in our capacity to do so, I would move that the committee actually write to Owen and Thomas and ask that it not only be kept a priority, but set the date, set the next meeting time as a hopeful period for response. Thanks.
I'll second that. Tamara, could you lead us in, I don't know if we have to vote on that, but I mean, I think we should absolutely vote that we need to have this, I would make a motion or an amendment to this motion, and maybe we make a motion to get the answer to us by by the next system performance committee meeting. Like, I don't know how to go about with this right here. I want to make sure that we are handling this and that it's official and that we are like able to document that this has been requested.
Thank you, Ruby. Is there any discussion on the original motion for the committee to write a letter? Then I will
Yeah.
offer.
So I have a maybe a slight tweak, and I don't know if it's overreaching, but this is Frank. I'm wondering if we can be stronger and say not only would we like a decision, but a favorable decision, and recount the reasons why we, or restate the reasons why we think a favorable decision is warranted.
Yeah, yes, I second that amendment.
Is there further discussion?
I think that maybe Tamara, if she's still on the call, would you
Yes.
be able to lead us in the discussion of this motion as the co-chair?
Sure, yes. Sorry, I am just trying to wake up again. I am not feeling great. But yes, can we entertain a motion to have anything helps gain access to HMIS and to get a firm and solid response from the chief impact officer at KCRHA before the next system performance committee meeting?
And yeah, I think that's been seconded.
The original motion was for the committee to write to Owen and Thomas and set the priority and response and hope and favorable decision be given by the next SPC committee meeting. So
And we just need that.
That's the motion that I made and was originally seconded by Ruby. Frank made an amendment. Ruby helped seconded that, and we were sliding into discussion phase.
And I just, as the other co-chair, that's like, I don't think I can move us into the vote, don't I?
So
Can move that.
can I just ask for precedent? So I was asking if we can do this. I guess I found out that we can. So is this something like is there precedent for this? Are we doing the right, is this the right thing to do? Like, I don't want to like hurt our cause by being obnoxious. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, I don't think it's obnoxious, and I think it's absolutely in our purview to request a resolution on something that's been ongoing and that we were supposed to be observing and overseeing as the HMIS oversight. And I think that it would be just, something that would need to be in a resolution perhaps, and documented that way. But I see it done in many other committees where they request responses and stuff like that by a specific time. But that's my understanding. So
I just wanted to make sure that like this is so it seemed like we needed a next step, like a clear path forward. And this seems like something, and I just wanted to make sure that this was a viable like thing to do. But I guess since we're discussing it, it must be. It's the right thing.
I mean, I think that we've tried all the other pathways to come to a resolution at this point. And I don't know how other committee feels about that as well, but I feel like there's limited ways to go at this point.
There's lots of hands up.
Yep. I was just gonna say Janelle has written in the chat. We're just gonna read it a lot or in the Q&A. As long as there are no security issues or concerns with how the agency is handling the data, it would not get revoked. And I think that the "oh no, not all" was in response to like go ahead and write the letter. That won't hurt anything. Up next. Oh, yep, confirmed. Thank you, Janelle. Mike has his hand up.
I just wanted to point out, just as someone who has spent the last year meticulously attempting to understand the HMIS policy and the, roles and responsibilities of the KCRHA and the Systems Performance Committee, It's my understanding that the Systems Performance Committee has delegated the responsibility of administering the HMIS to the KCRHA. And so, when you delegate the responsibility, the onus is essentially on this committee to make these decisions. It's kind of like I always compare it to like, you guys being the supervisor and, the employee is the KCRHA. And, if we are escalating to a supervisor, that's escalating to you. And so we've attempted that once. And then I just wanted to elevate that, I think what Ruby is concerned about is that, the appeal, the original appeal, and I should note that the original appeal was based on allegations against our organization, and that those were addressed. And the reason for the denial or revocation, whatever they want to call it these days, was security related. And so that wasn't something that arose during the appeals process. But I think what Ruby's concern is that if this was to fall back to an appeal, what assurances does she have to know that random denial or revocation or whatever it was that occurred without policy or precedent to do so won't happen again? And I think that's a concern of ours as well. So I just wanted to, I don't know, I can't speak for Ruby, but that's what I heard because that was a concern of ours as well. So thank you.
Hi, this is Tamara. I want to thank Mike for your transparency and for like doing everything necessary, more than what is necessary to plead your case. Have always been and will always be somebody who thinks that all hands on deck is the best approach. And so part of what that means also means fostering trust and healing in relationships that have been marred by conflict and distrust and mistrust. We can't make any progress on ending homelessness if we're still like fighting each other or like arguing about, process. And I'm also somebody who like thinks that sometimes being obnoxious is the only way you can make a change in the system. And I am not afraid of being obnoxious. I am quite obnoxious. And sometimes that's helpful. And other times it hasn't been helpful, but there's still a change, So I want us to start like reminding ourselves of the values that we hold as a continuum of care when we're like trying to navigate change efforts or conflicts. I'm learning that like for myself personally, but also as a system, I am encouraging us to like pause, self-reflect, and think about how we want to move our work forward, because it doesn't like this waiting for a year to get access. That is a complete dysfunctional, inefficient use of our time. And it's in that process, people are also waiting and suffering and dying on the streets. I don't know whatever the political backlash or whatever is going on behind the scenes, but I'm asking us all to set that aside so that we can focus on the people who actually matter in this moment. And those are people that are relying on us for support and like systems navigation and advocacy. So that's my like, I guess, large scale, high level like criticism of why of this whole entire process. And rather than like me getting stuck and mired in the like dysfunctionality of it and like getting angry about that, I'm asking us to reflect why this has become the issue that it is, and then work to actively prevent this from happening again. Because that like too much time has passed, too much like delay has passed. And this was, I know the work of government is slow and transformation takes time, but we can also be doing a better job of like checking ourselves and checking like the power and the egos that are at play here sometimes, and just get the work done. Just focus on what's most important. And those are the people that are relying on us for care. And I know that Mike has the best of intentions for his people. I know that Anything Helps has the best of intentions for their people. We don't need to like constantly ask people to prove themselves. If they have any kind of positive feedback from the people that they're serving, that should matter. And there's always going to be somebody who's unhappy with the service. There's always going to be somebody unhappy. Like, people are complicated and complex, and we should honor and value that. But I'm also just, again, pleading for us to not get bogged down in the authority and politics of this, and just think about what have we learned and how can we move forward without, and also having like a preventative plan of action if and when this happens, because this isn't the first time I've seen this happen in the homeless response system, not necessarily the SPC, but like anywhere in the homeless response system that there's conflict, you're gonna hear this shit. I mean, stuff, sorry.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, that's great. Thank you. I just wanted to see that there's another thing in the Q&A. And it says, will this letter for a favorable result be limited to signatures from SPC members, or can COC members review for signature too? Can we also request that the person who will be responsible for drafting this letter and managing the signatures be designated during this session? Thank you. And that is from a community member. And so I think that's a great point. I do want to be able to move us into our next point on the agenda, but I want to resolve this and have something on. So like we did have a motion and a second on that. So should we move into the vote on having on the letter being drafted and a resolution being made?
I would call for the vote.
Daniel's
Wait a
hands up.
second.
Oh wait. Sorry, Daniel's hand is up.
Tight timeline there. I know you want to get to a vote, y'all. I just wanted to just on the kind of discussion. I know you're talking about a favorable letter. I didn't know if all the members here are aware of like the 3 core issues and then how they were addressed by Anything Helps, and if that was helpful in trying to understand that. I know not everyone has spoken up about this, so I just wanted to like put that out there. I'm not discouraging a letter in any shape or form. Just that piece about favorable. Do you feel like you have enough information to make that assessment? And if you don't, I want to be able to provide what I can for you.
Sure. And I think, oh, sorry, go ahead.
I'm happy to quickly go over that if you want me to.
May I also just chime in here and say that I can also take the lead on that and send out all this information. So, because I do want to make sure that we're getting to the new members that are trying to join the committee and everything like that. So I just want to hold space for that as well. And Mike, I didn't mean to cut you off there, but I was just curious as to what people would like from the committee on this particular subject. I'd be more than happy to send out all the information and timeline to everyone on the committee. And I think that's a great suggestion on the COC as well. But we could have 2 separate letters as well, like we could have one supporting the organization, or we could have one that is supporting just the timeline, like an actual resolution on a date. So just throwing that out there too. There's many options here.
I'll just say that I'm fully in support of a letter pushing the timeline forward. I feel a little bit less comfortable stating that it needs to be an affirmative response, given that we don't have the opportunity to see kind of the action plan that they're putting forward. So that's my perspective.
Yeah, that's great. And I think that's kind of where I'm sitting at too. Like, I mean, I think that anybody is more than welcome to like show their support. And I personally would be writing, I would be writing in support as well. But I think that as a committee, it's important to maybe focus on just a timeline and a date. And I'm happy to send out the information to everyone as well.
And we would be completely okay with that. I think that's a great resolution for today.
Okay. Is there any other discussion on that? Okay, well, I think we should move into a roll call vote of just getting this letter submitted to the deadline of the next system performance committee meeting, which would be a good thing to know what that date would be. I think it's going to be October, somewhere around the 18th, right?
Yeah, it's
October.
October 16th.
Okay, cool, sweet. October 16th, yeah, correct. So, and if we move into that vote, do we do a roll call, Alex?
Yep. Sorry, give me 1 second. Okay.
yeah.
This vote is to write a letter, but not necessarily in favor, correct? We did change the motion.
Yeah, we did change the motion, and so it's not actually, so we would be voting on the motion first, and then we would vote on the amendment, which was Frank's original amendment. And I think that's technically how we would go about it. So
I'm
it would
happy
be
with withdrawing my amendment, so make it easy.
okay. Thanks, Frank. I appreciate that. That does make it easy. Let's move into a vote on just the deadline and letter with the deadline.
Tara Bauman,
Aye.
Sherry Tillman,
Aye.
Margaret Woolley. No. Ruby Romero,
Aye.
Emil Floresca,
Aye.
Marvin Futrell,
Aye.
Christina Sawicki, I can't unmute her. I will come back. Ask to unmute. Okay. Christina, if you want to put your vote in the chat, that would be great. Frank Schott?
Aye.
Yes,
Yes. Okay. Thanks, Christina. Ben Vaughan?
I
it says Ben Boggin. Oh, okay, now.
Thanks, Christina. Victoria Ewig?
Aye.
Okay, motion is passed with 9 approvals.
Great. Okay, so just to be clear, I did take, if everyone's okay with me taking the lead on drafting that letter and sending it to the committee, I would ask that we check our inboxes by Friday for that, so we can, me and Daniel and Tamara can send that out maybe possibly Monday. Could we maybe find a time to set away for that on Monday, Daniel?
Yeah. Sorry, I missed that one. I was looking at the Q&A. You want me to on Monday? You're gonna send a letter to me on Monday, or?
Yeah, if we have some time to get together on Monday, maybe a half an hour or 15 minutes just to go over what is in the letter before we send it over to them to the chief.
Yeah, I'm
Yeah.
happy to review if you want feedback or anything. Yeah, of course.
Cool. Thank you.
Do you want a time now? I can look. Let's see.
Yeah, sure. If you want to give me that right now, we could also do it off the meeting, but it's up to you.
I'm pretty open from 9:30 to 11, the lunch hour 12 to 1, and then I'm free again 1:30 till 3.
Okay, let's do the morning time. And Tamara, if you're free, are you free on the morning? Let's do 10 a.m.
Perfect. I'll send that out right now.
Yes, I am.
Cool, great. And would other committee members be able to come to that if they wanted?
Yeah, the only like kind of I think administrative consideration there is if we have quorum, if a large enough of the members attend, then we would be subject to the Open Public Meetings Act, and then we'd have to do a recording and whatnot. I'm not again not discouraging that, just that kind of puts us over a threshold. So I don't know if folks want to come directly or kind of do a kind of a delegate model.
Yeah,
I
that's a
can
great.
withdraw. This is
Oh,
Tamara.
it's up to you, Tamara. I was just trying to make sure that we had every duck in a row. If anybody does want to come, we would just have to keep it under 5. So I guess reach out to me and I can send you the link.
Okay.
Okay. All right. So we got a little bit of a movement on that there. Thank you guys all for this really good discussion on this subject today. And I really appreciate you all taking the time and consideration.
Yeah, thank you for that.
I'm just going to hand it over to you, Daniel. So go
I was
ahead.
gonna say I can kind of take us on to the next one. So I'm hoping, I know we're a little over time. Is Tom in the waiting room? Can we, let me see here. We can, I'd like to promote Tom. Alex, do I have the ability to do that? I just want to shuffle around because I know we're a little behind. Tom is slated to talk about coordinated entry at 3:10. So just like to, if we can, just a little shuffling to honor that time. Welcome, Tom.
Hi there. Can everyone see and hear me?
Yes.
Great. When I was being promoted from an attendee to a panelist, I kind of lost what you were saying there, Daniel. So I don't know if you want me to just kind of launch in, or if there was a.
Yeah, Tom, if you could, I would say please do an introduction.
Okay.
Have new members who I don't think even knew, maybe or not knew, kind of what your role did in the past and who was in
Sure.
that. And so I
Of
think
course.
introduction and then CE update would be great.
Updates. Wonderful, wonderful. Hi, everyone. It's really a privilege to be here with you today. My name is Tom Regan. I use he, him pronouns, and I recently accepted the role of Coordinated Entry System Manager. So this is a role previously held by Alex Ibrahimi, previously at King County DCHS with Coordinated Entry, and then most recently also at the KCRHA with our Coordinated Entry team here. So I will be stepping into the role in the KCRHA and in the community that Alex Ibrahimi used to hold. So it's great to be here. It's nice to meet you all. And really, that's kind of our first update for this committee today, is that we were without a team leader and a manager for most of the first 3 quarters of 2024. But now I'm stepping into that role, and I've been working on the coordinated entry team for a little over a year. Previously to stepping into this role, I was working as a specialist on the team, coordinating and doing a lot of like front of house work for our single adult resources. So really, working with the community of providers and housing navigators to kind of elevate pain points, in the system and elevate things for system improvements, and also just kind of facilitate the nominations and referrals to housing. So it's very exciting to be stepping into this role, and it's great to be with you all today. The other update that I have from coordinated entry for this group is that we are now officially over 1 month of going live for our new live inventory system, which is very exciting. Essentially almost all of the providers that we work with, did fantastic work. We partnered very closely also with our community impact team, and as well as our partners at BitFocus to bring everyone together and get us all across this finish line together to go live with the new inventory system in HMIS. So big, huge thanks. I see, Lawrence here on the call, Daniel, of course, shout outs to our BitFocus partners and community impact partners, and also a shout out to our team coordinator, Leah, who is really acting as kind of like an interim, project manager and project manager for that live inventory project on our team to bring it across the finish line. There are still 3 community providers who have not yet kind of brought their kind of internal housing inventory work to a place where we're able to have them integrated fully into our live inventory system. But Leah, Community Impact, BitFocus, all working very closely with those three providers to make sure that they're going to meet kind of our final deadline for them to be integrated into the live inventory system. So we're seeing good progress with those providers so far, and kind of have plans and designs in structure and in place to make sure that they will join us in that live inventory system. So those are my two real big updates for you all today. Yeah, now I guess I'll hand it back to Daniel.
Yeah, thank you, Tom. Thank you for all the hard work. And I know Leah's been a real big part of that too. So great work there. And shout out to Joel on our community impact team, who's been a heavy lifter in a lot of this work and getting inventory set up. Any questions for Tom? Tom, so thorough. No questions for you, it looks like. Let me check the Q&A actually here. I'm not seeing anything about the committee there. So, okay. Thank you so much for your time, Tom, and thank you for that update.
Yeah, absolutely. Looking forward to, returning to the space and getting to work with you all. So very excited.
Congratulations, Tom.
Thanks, Ben. Yeah, thank you.
Hi, hey, Tom, before you go, sorry, I might have missed it, but when is the next coordinated entry public meeting and how do we get into watching those?
Yeah, great question. And by, do you mean like coordinated entry committee meeting?
Oh, yes, I'm sorry. Yes, I do.
Yeah, no, of course. No need to apologize at all. I just wanted to make sure that I was tracking like the same thing that you were referencing. The next coordinated entry committee meeting is on Thursday, September 26th. It'll be at 10:30 to 11:30. And Alex, correct me if I'm wrong, but the link to that should be on our KCRHA website's page where you find the links to
Yes.
board and committee meetings. Is that true, Alex?
It is underneath where you would find all the COC similar links and stuff like that there. It is not up yet, but it will be up today. I think we can get that agenda posted today.
Great, thank you.
Yes, thank you. Great question. Thanks for asking.
Tom, thank you so much. You're welcome to stay on and listen to the rest of the meeting. But if you had something else, pressing, please feel free to jump off. Thank you again for your time.
Bye, everyone. Thank you all.
Hi, Tom.
Okay, so we are getting pressed for time. I know we have new member applications. I feel like that's pretty important, and we have some panelists here for that. And I'm thinking let's elevate that so that we give those that joined today an opportunity to talk about why they want to be a member. And then Alex, do we just have Bella? Is Bella in attendance here? Looks like
Bella, yes.
I don't know, community court. I don't think that's anybody specifically that's applied to be a member. That's the only one that's kind of throwing me off there.
Yeah, I think Bella is the only one from the applications that is here today.
Okay. Any issues if we bring Bella in, just to make sure we have time to give Bella some time to kind of discuss her desire to be on the committee and members. Anyone have any problems with that? We shift up the agenda.
No objection here. No.
Okay.
No objection.
All right, Bella, I'm promoting you to panelist. There you go.
Bella, thank you for joining. This is the System Performance Committee. Bella, you turned in an application to be part of this committee, and this is an opportunity for you to speak to that application and give us some details about yourself, an introduction, and I'll just let you go. Thanks for being here.
Thanks. Thanks everyone for the invitation. I appreciate it. In the last couple of months, I'm coming on to this COC. I've tried to jump in as quickly as I could to utilize the skill set that I have had within business and as a consultant, largely within technology, but also doing large scale data analysis over the years. I jumped into NOFO. I've had a lot of questions, which has really helped me get a better handling of my COC responsibilities. Being invited to this meeting and to apply really helps me as well understand the larger scope of what our responsibilities are, you know, engaging in the discussions of pertinent matters that need to be, you know, looked at, having a resolution, move forward, you know, helps expand not only my understanding of the community, but, you know, the way that I might be able to best serve our community as a lived experience person myself in a couple of different capacities. I'm always aware of my biases and my filters in that regard. I try to be as much as possible, but I also come from a variety of experiences within homelessness. And so I'm observing, you know, on multiple points. I'm also currently finishing my doctorate. So I do love numbers. I love research. I love asking questions and, you know, really try to always drive that. I grew up in Washington State. I've seen a lot of change in this area over the years, and I'm at a point where I really want to be able to contribute a lot more. And I'm still getting a bearing on how that can be, you know, effectively move forward. But I'm here to serve. Ultimately, this is what I'm here to do as best as I can. And I do happen to have a lot of experience in both business and governmental institutes and organizations, and a high level of systems analysis as a background. So all of this is very fascinating to me, and I see how pertinent it is to be able to address the issues and look at where the challenges are, or how, you know, we can better work and serve the community at large within, you know, the resources and the capacities that we have. So I have my application in, and I don't know if people have questions or if they want to ask me questions, but I'm definitely open to discussing anything that anybody might have as questions about my background, or where I, you know, would like to come into a subcommittee like this, or, you know, my experience. I'm open to anything and everything. So thank you for listening, everyone. I appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks, Bella. We appreciate you expressing interest, and I'm excited to hopefully get to work with you here in this space.
Thank you.
Let's see, I'm just looking Q&A to see anything going on in chat. So originally, Bella, thank you so much as well for the introduction. I really appreciate that, and really thankful for your interest in the System Performance Committee. So originally there were 2 other applicants. It doesn't look like they were able to make it. I would have ordinarily sent out a link for a vote, which I do have now. It does have the other applicants' names on there, but they're not required to answer. Would we like to go to vote? And I can send that link. I believe Alex is queued up ready to send that link out to committee members, and we can do that in real time.
I think we could just maybe do a roll call vote.
That might even be easier, I'm thinking, because there isn't multiple. Thank you for that, Ruby, because there isn't multiple applicants.
Okay, give me 1 second.
So Alex, if we don't send the link, I think we just want a motion for a vote and then open it up to the floor, to the membership.
Yeah, I did send the link before the meeting.
Oh,
I
you did.
also see it. I see a comment in the chat. Sorry to interrupt.
How many openings remain on the committee? Are there handwritten application materials to review?
If those weren't sent out to the committee, I don't think we should do a vote on it right in real time then, if that written application wasn't submitted to the committee.
Yeah, if there are multiple applications, I feel like it's best to send them all out to the committee, give people some time to review, and then come back for a vote. So you can vote on them all together. Up to you though, that's just what we do at the COC.
Oh, yeah, we should certainly do that. I had thought the materials had gotten sent out. So we'll get those sent out here right after this to make sure you all have that.
Can we vote on Bella though, or would we want to do a vote later after reviewing the written applications here?
You know, we could, we have time. We could send the application out and we can do a 5-minute break where members could review that, and then we can come right back for a vote. Any heartburn over that if we do that, folks?
No,
Say that
let's do it.
again. Daniel, can you say that again?
Yeah, send out the quickly send out the application to read over. It's about a page worth of content.
I got a survey. Is this for other people that want to be on the system performance, the application?
Yeah, Sherry, Bella is here with us today, just giving an introduction. Would like to be on the committee. It looks like committee members didn't receive the actual application itself.
Oh, okay, got
So
you.
we're gonna just forward that
Yeah.
right now.
And I was also thinking if we do that break, that's a great idea. But if we already received the link, maybe we could. Is anybody opposed to coming back after the break and just reading the written application and then doing a vote, or would we want to see maybe the vote be done by link by a certain time? So you could have time to review the document on your like whenever you have the ability to. I'm sorry, just throwing ideas out there.
I think that if we can get this done now, I'm a proponent of like getting things done.
Me too.
Great. Okay, then we'll send that out and we'll come back from break in 5 minutes. Yeah, which would be at 3:46.
Yeah, let's do 3:47, so it gives Alex a chance to push that out to all the members.
And was there a response to how many openings remain on the committee?
Yes, I have that. I'll send that in the email with to everyone too, Victoria, so we all know. I just have to do a quick count. I need to also check in with Tamara to see. Emil, I see you joining. I think there was a question if you were still actively part of the committee, but you're here.
Yeah, I'm here.
Great. So let me just do a recount of that, Victoria, and then I'll send that out in the email. Okay, let's reconvene at 3:47. Am I getting that right? Yeah, 3:47.
I don't know about others, but I just see a link to vote.
Yeah, I haven't seen the application come through either.
Alex, Alex, I forwarded you the application. Did you get that attached? Maybe it just wasn't attached.
The only thing that I've been sent is the voting
Let
form.
me let me see here. Let me send.
Oh, an email. Okay. Okay, give me 1 second.
Thanks, Alex.
No. Okay, I just respond to my same email with the voting link. I just forwarded the attachment again.
Sorry, folks. I sent that to Alex in an email. I think Alex, you were hovering in the wings, waiting for it to come through Teams.
Yeah, I thought it was the one in Teams. Sorry about that.
Yeah, I should have communicated that.
Oh, good.
Just confirming that I do see it now. And for anybody else, it's at the very bottom of the, well, if your system is set up that way, it's at the very last email is a forwarded message, and it's attached to that.
I think just recalibrating here. Just give folks just a couple more minutes there.
Yeah. If when people come back, they could come off into camera to let us know that you're back, that might be the easiest way to do it. As committee members come back, I'll just reaffirm if they could come on camera so we know that they are back. That'd be great. Thanks. Thank you guys for your patience as well. Appreciate it. Okay, so we're just waiting on a couple more people, but they should be here any minute. There we go. Hi, Sherry.
Just flagging you guys have 6 minutes, so.
Yep. We're just, I think, is Frank back? And then we can move into the vote if Frank is back.
Emil, nice to see you in person. I don't know if I've actually seen you on camera before. It's great.
Hi, yes, thank you. Sorry for not being able to make these meetings as often. My schedule has not been great, but I plan to move forward and continue attending these. So thank you for allowing me to be here. So
Yeah, thanks for coming. Okay, so it looks like everybody has come off or onto camera to say that they are back from the break. So if we want to, has everybody had time to review the materials that were sent out and everybody feels comfortable on making a vote today? All right. I saw head nods across the board, so that's good. Let's go ahead and if Alex is ready to do the roll call on the committee application for Bella Irons, we could go ahead and do the roll call vote.
Okay, voting to approve Bella Irons as an SBC member. Please say your vote with your name. Tamara Bauman.
Aye.
Sherry Tillman.
Aye.
Ruby Romero.
Yes.
Emil Floresca.
yes.
Marvin Futrell.
Yes.
Christina Sawicki. Oh, I think she must have dropped. Okay, sorry, give me 1 second. Let me double check. Attendees. Okay. Frank Scott.
Aye.
Thank you. Ben Vaughan.
Aye.
Victoria Ewig Kwan.
Aye.
Okay, with 8 ayes, the motion is passed. Welcome, Bella.
All right. Got ourselves a new system performance committee member. Congratulations, Bella. We appreciate that. Thank you guys all for taking your votes
Thank
today.
you.
Cool. So we should be in contact soon then. Great. So this has been a really productive meeting today. Do we have anything else on the agenda, Daniel?
Yeah, we do have 3 other agenda items. Well, first, Bella, congratulations. I have your congratulatory email up with some links for you to take a look at, and then the next step is some onboarding, which I'm hoping to get some support from our coaches on that. Yeah, we do have a few other agenda items. I just thinking with the 3 minutes that we have left, what is kind of the most I think for this one we can do some asynchronous work. I'll send out the updates that I was going to send. It's really just kind of status updates on things, so I don't think we need to yeah, I think everyone will be okay kind of looking at the material. It's kind of just our standard bit focus update on how many users we have. That's pretty much held steady. And then just going through our lead matrix to see where we're in compliance with things. And I'll send that out. Those are all in PowerPoint, so you can all look at that. And I think we can end it on a high note. Welcoming Bella on the System Performance Committee.
Cool. Great. Thank you so much, you guys. I know it's been a long meeting and we didn't get to some points on our agenda that we usually do reach. So I apologize for that, not being a better timekeeper on that. But I really appreciate this meeting today. Thank you, Daniel. Thank you, Alex. And thank you everyone that's been here today. And yay, Bella. Excited. I guess unless there's any objections, we can go ahead and adjourn the meeting. Hearing none, meeting is adjourned. You get 1 minute back to your day.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thanks.